Well, that was pretty easy. I looked every citizen of L'Manburg in the eyes and I said, you listen to me. This place will be a lot different tomorrow. My first decree as the president of L'Manburg. The Emperor of the decree.
Wilbur, surely not. Will.
Is to revoke the
Yes, sir.
of Wilbur Soot and TommyInnit.
The Dream SMP may be one of my favorite video series on YouTube. It's so engaging, compelling, it has stories and characters that are so interesting, much more interesting than the average blockbuster film would have. And the thing is, it's almost, if not completely, improv. It's amazing how they managed to pull it off. There's not one big corporation making Dream SMP videos, there's not a director or a writer, just some guys playing Minecraft, and oh boy is it dramatic. Now you may be wondering, like I am, how? How is this possible? Well, do not worry, my friend, because I'm going to tell you my explanation that is most definitely 100% true, and not just personal opinion and or uneducated guess at trying to comprehend this concept for a YouTube video. So if you don't know what the Dream SMP is, if you've heard about it but never got into it, or if you've just never heard about the server at all, then sit back, I will tell you a brief recap of the major events. So back in April, Dream decided to make an SMP server because he saw how successful Carson's series was, and I guess decided to capitalize on it even though the trend was kind of dead by that point. There are two periods in the timeline. BT, before Tommy, and AT, after Tommy. So in BT, nothing really happened because the Dream team are so bad at making good content and staying PG for YouTube that it was just kind of a mess that nobody really remembers, and then Tommy joined. Now in my opinion, Tommy is one of, if not the main character. He brings so much life and comedy to his videos. Sure, he's a bit annoying to some people. He makes irrational decisions, is very loud, obnoxious, flawed, and a freaking genius at his bit. Compelling characters have flaws, personality, and growth, but I'll get to that later. Anyways, so Tommy joins the group, and the first thing he does is cause chaos, get banned several times, blows up some stuff, and kills a few people. Now there are some minor things that happen that I won't be mentioning just because of their insignificance to the main plotline, but if you want to read up on it, then I'll put a link to the timeline in the description. So there is this whole kerfuffle between Punk and Sapnap and Alyssa and Tommy about burning a house or something, and Dream wanted there to be no fighting and killing, so he tried to stop them, and then he got killed. So Dream was like, grr, I'm angry, and then decided to take TommyInnit's two best prized possessions, Cat and Mellowhigh, and this sparks the Discs saga, which is kind of epic in the videos, but what it really boils down to is two stubborn doofuses fighting over these discs. They kind of kill each other and a lot of other people and blow up things and set things on fire, and then Tommy gets back his discs and Dream gets Tommy's netherite chestplate. So after that big mess, they decide to make a building called the Socializing Club where they could talk out their problems peacefully without any violence. But the idea was a bust, and the whole thing ended with them killing each other. J-Schlatt joins and then gets banned because Dream can't stand anyone funnier than he is. Nothing really happens for a while. Eric joins and builds a castle. Him and Fundy have a prank war. Dream destroys things for no reason. But then Wilbur Soot had been on the server, he just hadn't really done anything. But then, he and Tommy decide to become drug dealers. So they make a hot dog van and Sapnap tries to stop them, but inevitably becomes a drug addict. Then Wilbur Soot realizes that all the Americans are ruining his plans for dealing drugs, so he decides to make a new nation where he can sell drugs freely. So they build giant walls around a section of land and call it L'Manburg. But Dream is like, no, I don't want that, or something. And then the L'Manburg crew decides to write a Declaration of Independence, but then Dream is like, grr. So then he declares war. The Dream team makes a giant cobblestone wall around L'Manburg and then sets up TNT cannons on it, and they fight and blow up stuff and they clash swords and then they like bam and then they get like they accidentally trigger the wall and they blow up and fight and steal shit and they blow up the tower and then they bang. So Wilbur is like, yo, can we talk this out, Dream? And Dream is like, no, I'm going to blow up your entire base if you don't surrender. And Wilbur is like, no, I want to talk it out. So then Dream blows up his entire base and Wilbur is somehow surprised. So then Eric leads them into a secret base while they are retreating, and as they walk in...
Eric, what the f*** is
Gentlemen,
this?
this is the final room. The final control room.
What?
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 There's nothing in the chests.
Eric.
What? No! A traitor! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Eric was a traitor. He betrayed them. This is the moment in the saga where I was floored. My heart had been ripped in two. That two-sided backstabbing Eric. What's wrong with him? Why did he do that? How could he have betrayed his friends? Why did he go over to the other side? You see how this series has got me emotionally engaged? So then they take refuge in an obsidian bunker that Tommy had built deep underground. They decide to negotiate as Dream Team has them outnumbered, outgeared, outplayed, and they had practically nothing. Tommy says something along the lines of, "Hey big green boy, bow duel for independence," and then he gets shot. But then when all is lost, Tommy makes one last-ditch effort to get independence. By giving Dream the discs, this is the moment where Tommy's character arc really shines. After all the things that he had went through for the discs, he's willing to put his pride aside and sacrifice his most valued possession for something bigger than him, the independence from tyranny. They write a new Declaration of Independence, which is actually really quite profound. It really has some insights to the human
Suck it, green boy!
So then after that, it seems to be alright and good, and everything is back to normal. Occasional shenanigans happen. After a while, Wilbur Soot decides that he should host an election for presidency of L'Manburg. But he decides to do the sneaky and close the voting ballots before anyone else can run, but he forgets, and Quackity decides to run against him. Naming his party as Swag 2020, Wilbur and Tommy decide to name their campaign Pog 2020. One night they decide to have a debate night, and it ends up blowing in their faces, and everyone's just screaming and crying. Anyways, so they hold an election night, and Pog 2020 has the endorsement from Jay Schlatt, as he is unbanned, and then he goes up onto the stage to the microphone, and declares that he is running for president with Schlatt 2020. Wilbur and Tommy try to convince Quackity to be on their side, but Quackity gets insulted and decides not to. So then they hold a poll for the viewers to decide who should win. Pog 2020 wins in the initial amount of votes, but there's a twist. Jay Schlatt and Quackity agreed that if either of them didn't win, then they would pool their votes, which beat Pog 2020 by 1%.
Take it home, take it home. Well, that was pretty easy. And you know what I said? The day I got unbanned from the Dream SMP, and the day I said I was running, I said things are gonna change. I looked every citizen of L'Manburg in the eyes and I said, you listen to me. This place will be a lot different tomorrow. Let's start making it happen.
Well, but are you sure?
My first decree as the president of L'Manburg, the emperor of the country,
Well, surely not. Will.
is to revoke the citizenship of Wilbur Soot and TommyInnit. Yes, baby, yes. Get him out of here. No longer welcome. Get him out of here.
When you shut Tommy, run.
So Jay Schlatt became president and immediately exiled TommyInnit and Wilbur Soot from their land. They had to run or be killed. This is a pivotal moment in the Dream SMP history, not only because it was emotional and powerful and shocking, but also because it completely tore down what Tommy and Wilbur had fighted for so long to achieve. Jay Schlatt said to tear down the walls. He changed the color of the banner. He exiled the two founding members of L'Manburg, stripped it of its European descent by calling it Manburg, and turned all of their friends against them. This is another moment that was truly amazing. Wilbur and Tommy were driven into the wilderness. Wilbur threw away his L'Manburg suit and put on a trench coat, symbolizing him as an outcast, and he sat upon a hill, watching his friends and his own son tearing down the walls that he had built all those years ago. But Mr. Deck didn't Eric build the walls? Shush, it's more dramatic this way.
One day.
My great unfinished symphony. I'm leaving this. I can't watch it anymore.
And that's all the events up until this point. Right now, TommyInnit and Wilbur have recruited Tekno as their trainer, and are building up resources. And back at Manburg, Quackity and Jay Schlatt are fighting for control over the nation. The way I explained it might belittle the actual experience of it, so I highly recommend you go watch the VODs or videos about this from the members themselves. The plot could honestly go anywhere from this point, and I am hyped. Let me give you some characters that I think are the best, the cream of the crop, the absolute most amazing characters in my opinion. Yes, I'm talking about the characters, not the creators, because believe it or not, they're actually doing bits. If you don't believe me, watch this clip.
Wait,
Tommy,
okay.
Tommy, dare I break character for a minute? You're advancing this too quickly. You're advancing the story too fast.
Okay, alright.
Obviously, there's TommyInnit. He's the kind of character that sprung all the drama into motion. He's the catalyst. He's the driving force in the narrative. He's obviously a kind of crazy little boy, but it's funny. He goes on random tangents, yells 50% of the time, has temperamental issues, and above all has immense loyalty to his friends and what he stands for. He sticks to Wilbur and Tubbo, and you know that he would do anything for them. He would stand up for his friends and fight for what he believes is right. His feisty stubbornness complements this morality extremely well, and I'm very impressed that he got me to care this much. He's one of, if not the youngest persons on the Dream SMP, and he is in my opinion the best character. Tubbo is a freaking awesome, chaotic man. He is a crazy munchkin. I love his character. He's like the sidekick who's very loyal to TommyInnit. Ignore the fact that he joined Jesla at the election. He has so many different personalities like Big Law and Big Crime and Tube and Turbo and Tubox. He is, in my opinion, the funniest person on the server. He just knows how to time his comedy so freaking well. He's kind of adorable. No homo. But yes, I do like him a lot, and he complements Tommy's personality very well. They're like a perfect duo. Separated, they're good, but together they make some of the funniest comedy I've ever seen. Now Jesla is quite similar to Dream, but he actually has one difference. He knows how to create a character. The character of Schla is an old jerk. While he shares the same power-hungry moves as Dream, he actually sticks to what his character would do. He is ruthless, uncaring, very smart, good at business, cunning, and above all, the one thing that makes all of these terrible qualities the least bit likable, and the one thing that makes his character click: he's funny. Quackity is at the bottom of this list because he kind of lacks in the morality department, but what he lacks in terms of story or a compelling character arc he makes up for in the funnies. Quackity is extremely funny, he really is. He kind of has the chaotic schizo energy that Tommy does, but ramped up to 11. He's all over the place, and it's freaking hilarious. He makes almost every encounter that he's in funny and entertaining to watch. It's like you can't get bored or turn away from the screen. It's really amazing. It's really quite amazing how good his comedic senses are. They're just so on point, and his sense of humor has a theme as well. Remember, it's the motivations and the themes that make a character one to get behind. I may be analyzing this all too much. You may say, Wizardak, why are you looking so deep into a block game where some streamers are yelling at each other and throwing fake elections and screaming about discs and selling drugs and out of hot dog vans and building a church of Twitch Prime to pray to Dream? And yeah, it's crazy how I've spent this much time on this. And this is the point that I've been trying to get to. This series is so freaking good. It just works. And the best part is that it's completely impromptu. At least the way that I see it. It's like one big improv session that has you on the edge of your seat, crying and laughing and fearing for these characters. It's flipping stupid how all of this works. Now some may argue that it's scripted or there are general plot points that are pre-planned, and I could see where you are coming from. Some aspects do seem forced and a bit convenient at times, but it doesn't matter. It's just too good. It's the blend of characters meshing and molding. It's the different senses of humor from different creators coming together so that there's a sense of humor for almost everyone who watches. It's the wide array of character personalities, and none of which seem the same, and everyone has at least one character that they root for more than anyone else, and the viewers in turn create a community that is so involved and hyped for what happens next in the story, and creates amazing art, animations, and songs for these guys. It's the fact that they managed to create such an amazing story and plotline on just a simple block game with nothing but vanilla mechanics and their own characteristics to support them and drive them forward. For them diving so deep into the characters that you can't tell if it's the character or the creator talking anymore. You can't tell because they're so involved. They're probably actually feeling the emotions that they are portraying their characters to have, which makes it so believable. And when the character believes what they're fighting for, then I believe what they're fighting for. And it makes me empathize with their logic and reasoning, and I get so enveloped by the plot and the intensity of it all, and the pure ability from almost everyone on the server who is able to believe so much in this block game that they capture a skill that some of the top paid actors don't even have, which is the ability to believe in your character and become your character. and in doing so make the audience believe in your character, which in turn carries the entire server. And that brings me to why I think the Dream SMP is so good, what I think makes it work so well, the one thing that makes it amazing.